Okay, this machine is called the scroll saw. Some people will call it a jigsaw, but typically it's known as the scroll saw. And how it works is you've got an on-off switch here, turn that on, and you have two arms, one on the top, one on the bottom, and then they go up and down together. And the blade cuts by a reciprocating action. Okay, you do have a little air bellows that helps to blow sawdust off where you're working, so you can actually see your line and you can see what's going on. You've got the ability to adjust your table if you want to do some more advanced marquetry type stuff. But it's a pretty simple machine and it's a pretty safe machine. Never, this is one that I've been using since I was real young, and so in fact, I taught my 7-year-old how to use this machine, and he's making little wooden puzzles and things like that. And so it's generally a safe machine to use as long as you keep your hands on the sides and not in line with the blade. And so, what is the scroll saw used for? Well, the scroll saw is used extensively to make projects like this. Everybody in this class is going to make an Intarsia project, and so you've got to have a way to get in and cut these intricate shapes, okay? And you need a tool that's going to leave a really nice surface finish, okay? Quite frankly, the bandsaw outfit with a 1/4-inch blade, like I just demonstrated for you, is going to leave too rough of a surface for what we want to do. We want to be able to basically to leave a finished surface that doesn't need hardly any sanding at all. All right, and so a scroll saw is going to allow us to do that because the blade is the teeth are so small, and it just does a really good job. Okay, but there are lots of different types of projects that would lend themselves to a scroll saw. There's a magazine called the Scroller magazine, and if you ever want to get interested in using that, looking for various patterns, they have all sorts of different silhouette patterns, Intarsia patterns. They've got all gobs and gobs of stuff, and it's all made the scroller. They're all made using the scroll saw. I had an aunt who was big into craft making, and she made good money making little figurines using the scroll saw. So it's a good machine that way. All right. Let me show you. The other reason why you might use a scroll saw is if you have an internal opening or something you want to cut on the inside of the board. Okay. And so I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. But first, let me just demonstrate how you use this machine. Get your air bellows set up. I'm going to demonstrate on a pretty thin piece of soft maple. So I got a couple things going for me. Number one, this is real soft wood. Number two, it's real thin. So it's going to cut really easy. All right. Some of you guys, as you are doing your Intarsia projects, it might be a real advantage to really try to keep your pieces really thin that way. All right. That's going to help you. And so one of the nice things you can do with this is just make really sharp turns. Look at that. That almost looks like, do you see the resemblance? Anyway, so this is a good machine for cutting really sharp, tight corners. You don't really need to worry about breaking the blades because the blades are going to break, and you know they're cheap. I've got a whole drawer full of them that they're just a few cents each, and so you're going to break blades, and so that's not a big deal. Let me show you now how to cut out the inside of a hole. And so you start it by drilling a hole using a portable drill or some other hole making device. You're going to release the tension off of the blade. You're going to loosen this screw, and then your blade is going to come free on the top. I don't know if you can see that. Here, let me zoom in so you can see what's going on here. All right. So this is showing you what it looks like. So you've got a clamp up here on the top. You've got another one on the bottom that you can't really see. But once we unclamp the blade on the top, we can actually take our board and feed that blade up through the hole and reclamp it, okay? Get that good and tight so it doesn't slip on you. And then what you're gonna do is pull your tensioning lever. And that is right here. So this lever right here, if you pull that, what happens is it creates tension on that blade. And I don't know if you can hear that ring, but that's a nice taut blade, and that's what we want. And so now we're good to go. And so we can cut whatever shape we want. We can do this is a fun machine to make puzzles with, animal puzzles and various different types of things like that. Okay, and so when we're done, we're going to release the pressure or release the tension. We're going to loosen up that screw, and then we can pull our part out of there. Be careful not to damage the blade any more than we have to. And so when we're all said and done, we've got our part that way with an inside hole. Okay, and so scroll saws are a good machine used for cutting really tight corners that need real good surface finish, curves that need real good surface finish, and for inside corners. I guess some tips: make sure you're using thin wood. You really can't cut anything over than 3/4 of an inch, just because the blades are reciprocating and the teeth are really small, and so you'll be fighting it if you try to cut anything thicker than 3/4. And so softwood cuts really good, and just keep your hands on the side. Make sure you hold things down on the table because that reciprocating action doesn't want to make it chatter. And so just hold it down and you'll be fine. All right. And so again, let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, happy scrolling.